Hey friends, back the feminist lawyer again, welcoming you to another episode of Self-Care and Soapboxing. Or is facials and fascists better? Mud masks and mediation? Skincare and solving problems? Anyway, so I'm just following up on a video that I posted a little while ago about what to do about bigots in your orbit. And some of the comments that I received were indicative of me not being forgiving of people or being willing to accept that people change. And I had to laugh because these had to be new subscribers to my page because they clearly haven't seen some of my old stuff. One of the things that I need to remember to reiterate in some of my videos is that I am a 180 from how I grew up. One of the reasons that I am so loud about anti-fascism, about the cult nature of a lot of the religious right, the Christo-fascism that's going on. One of the reasons that I'm such a loud ally for the LGBTQ community. One of the reasons I'm such a loud anti-racist. One of the reasons that I'm such a loud ally for the trans community is because I was brought up and I, early in my life, voted in harmful ways, spoke in harmful ways, said harmful things, and did a lot of damage. I mean, look, at this point, I've got 39,000 subscribers to this TikTok. I mean, clearly I'm a little bit persuasive, and I was using these powers of persuasion for evil. It's funny because I get comments from people going, "Oh, have you thought about running for office? Have you thought about running for president?" And I'm like, I can't even imagine that, because if somebody wanted to go digging for skeletons on me, they would absolutely find a mountain of them. I'm sure somewhere there is some rant that I've gone on that I went on when I was 21, that was patriarchal and, possibly inadvertently racist and probably homophobic. This was just the environment that I was trying to survive in. I was brought up in Cobb County, Georgia, which is like hardcore Marjorie Taylor Greene district. And they're like, the people there are heavily white supremacist, a lot of them. Of course, there is diversity in the community, but there are a lot of people from there, especially the politicians, that are white supremacist, patriarchal, Christo-fascists. This was the majority of the people that I grew up around, or rather, their parents. I also grew up in a heavily religious household, very, very Catholic household. I was literally the vice president of the Pro-Life Association at my first college. I was the 2001 Archdiocese of Atlanta High School Senior of the Year. Like, I went hard in the paint on conservatism. I went hard in the paint on religiosity, in patriarchy, in misogyny, in all of that stuff, because I had to, in order to survive in the environment that I was in. You can't excel in that environment unless you are what the people around you are. And as a kid, as a young adult, all I wanted to do was be accepted and excel and have the people around me believe that I was excellent and doing well. And so they told me what to do, and I did it really hard. And it wasn't until I got away from that and I was in a safe place to start questioning those things that I realized, wow, like I was pushed way in the wrong direction. I ended up getting more education, and I ended up sort of separating from that area, doing a lot of traveling and living all over the country and all over the world, and meeting more people and broadening my horizons and reading more, taking more classes, getting more degrees. And finally I realized, like, holy crap, I had it way wrong. I mean, my first presidential election, I voted for Bush Jr. W. I voted for Mike Huckabee, y'all. When I was a kid, I worked on Pat Buchanan's presidential campaign. No joke. I went to school in I think it was 6th grade, wearing shirts that said "Go Pat, go" on them. I showed up to my high school wearing shirts that said "Abortion is mean." I marched on Washington in the March for Life. I was hardcore, y'all. Hardcore. And it took me until I was in my mid-20s to really start deconstructing that a little bit at a time. And then by the time I was in my 30s, it was just like, wow, like all of that was wrong. So I feel like I have a lot of making up to do, because by my votes, by my voice, by the way that I interacted in the world, I may have done a lot of damage that I owe to the marginalized communities that I probably hurt to repair. And some of the communities I hurt, I'm a part of. I acted against my own interests. So yes, it is possible for people to change. I fully believe that it is possible for people to change. And that if they do change, you give them a chance to explain. I am not anti-forgiveness if it can be offered, but forgiveness requires proper apology. And proper apology includes acknowledgement of the wrong, a promise to repair, to do better in the future, and then actions being taken towards repairing that. I have come out publicly and said many times over, and I will continue to say that I was wrong for most of my life. So many of the things that I stood for, so many of the things that I spoke about were absolutely 100% wrong and harmful. And I apologize for all of that. It was a survival mechanism. I was trying to do the best I could in the environment that I was in. But these are not excuses. I may have done harm. I don't know how much harm I did with just one vote, but I mean, you never know. I may have done some serious harm to people. And so I have acknowledged it publicly over and over again. I was wrong. I have promised repeatedly to do better in the future over and over again. And I have also worked tirelessly to undo the damage that I have done. I have spoken out 2-3 times as much as I ever did before. I have taken these uncomfortable conversations to the people in my orbit who were that way, who taught me to be that way, who influenced me to be that way. And I have brought this uncomfortable topic to them and said, this is not okay. And if this continues, you do not have a relationship with me. And I cannot abide racist or misogynist or homophobic or transphobic or whatever ism talk. Ableism either. I'm not going to sit here and listen to it. I'm not going to abide by it. I'm not going to just let you off the hook for it. I'm going to make it uncomfortable for you to be hateful. I have taken it to the mat with these folks, and that is me making up for it. And if you want to give somebody grace for changing, you need to see at least that much in them. Yes, people change. You got to see it first. It's not real until they do it. It's call me when you figured your shit out, please. But if you're going to keep up this business, we can't be friends. You can't tell someone you love them and then go vote for someone who will hurt them. Friends, family, people, loved ones, they stand up for each other, especially when it's vital, and it is vital at the polls. So yes, people can change, and yes, you can forgive them, but you've got to get a real apology first, and that includes action towards repair. And I promise you there's hope. I mean, look at how far I've come, how far I've turned around. I was a hardcore, misogynist, Catholic, patriarchal, inadvertently white supremacist. I was upholding all sorts of colonialist things and upholding all sorts of, inadvertently white supremacist attitudes. And I would have sworn up and down that I wasn't a racist. But that's something that I have to look at every day. When I react to things, I have to go, wait a minute. Was that programmed in me by white supremacy? All right, I need to look at this first before I decide how to proceed. Am I proceeding in the way that centers the needs of those who have been disenfranchised? Am I operating out of love? Am I operating out of peace? Is the way that I'm reacting to this subject worth examining? And the answer is always yes. Always examine your reactions. And if you can't stop to do that, I mean, you're just a coward. Sorry. It's not about intelligence. It's about bravery. Be bold. Do better. It hurts a little bit, but you're doing the right thing. It's time for us to hold a little bit of that hurt. Stay safe out there, friends. Keep fighting the good fight.